Hello traders, hello everyone, my name is Gregor and welcome to our new video surfing the Elliott waves, where I'll look at some of the most interesting developments for this week. This video has been brought to you by Orbex. I will look at cable, euro, pound, euro, dollar, Aussie, dollar, yen and silver. Pound has been one of the mover. Yesterday we have seen a sharp reversal on cable to the downside despite hawkish Bank of England. As you know, their inflation is still a big issue. They have inflation above 10% and definitely they have to be a little bit more aggressive to bring down the inflation. However, speculators looks like that they are not optimistic regarding the Bank of England policy decisions. We have seen a very sharp reversal here on cable with the price breaking out of this wedge pattern. So it looks like that bearish price action could continue even lower, but it will depend where the price will close today, because it's Friday, end of the day, end of the week, and obviously one of the most important prices for this week. So if cable will remain bearish around current levels or even lower, I think that more weakness will be seen going into the next week. Okay, also you're seeing currently US dollar strength, which comes in because we have this Fed members still talking about the inflation that is too high and that maybe they should do more regarding the rate. So this is definitely still a global problem, and that's why dollar could be the main driver here of this current move. So looking at the Elliott wave structure as a whole here on cable, I think that this recovery from March lows can actually come into the very strong resistance, and as I said, I would not be surprised to see more weakness. Even if this will be just another temporary corrective price action, I think that we should see more weakness until these ABC formations are formed. Okay, but looking at the daily chart, maybe even something much bigger could be around the corner. Keep in mind that that small 5 waves up with the wedge here that I showed you in the 4-hour chart could actually belong to a higher degree impulse that could be coming to an end as well. You have a very strong resistance here that has been retested around 1.2670, and now we are turning. So as I said, if today on Friday we will see a bearish close, I think that more weakness here could be seen. Looking at the euro pound, also very important as well. Keep in mind that maybe would be nice to see euro pound bottoming to make sure that pound is going to stay weak, not only versus the euro, but then obviously this would confirm maybe the scenario that pound will remain weak across the board, meaning versus the US dollar and other currencies as well. Here now, when it comes to Elliott wave principle, we have potentially 3 waves down. Very nice wave A with a leading diagonal, sideways price action for a wave B running triangle, and then we have seen a drop into the wave C. So maybe we are trying to trace out the bottom here. It's a little bit too soon to say that we are bottoming, because you are now clearly at this resistance area, which has to be broken. So as I said, on pound versus the US dollar, if there will see more weakness and maybe a bearish weekly close, and at the same time, let's say that euro pound could cross maybe 87.50, then I think that bottom will be forming and more upside here could be the ideal scenario for pound dollar to resume lower. Of course, euro dollar could fall at the same time, but maybe not with the same magnitude. Okay, but overall this looks like a counter trend price action, and I would not be surprised at some point maybe euro will come to the upside. I know that ECB is also very aggressive, very hawkish. We just heard new comments from the ECB Nigel today that the latest interest rate hike won't be the last. Okay, so obviously they are looking to raise them further. But on the big picture here on euro pound, nothing has really changed, nothing interesting at all. I mean, we could be trapped in a very big triangle, but this bottom that I'm trying to trace out here could potentially be then, once we will have enough price data that wave B has ended, could be then maybe the starting point for a wave C higher to complete sub wave D. Now looking at the euro dollar, firstly the big chart, as you know, I've been tracking this price action for a while, so I think that we could be here in the middle of this very complex correction, because recovery from here to recent high, or maybe even we'll see another high, is still overlapping. Okay, you will have a lot of issues trying to count this in impulsive fashion. So I think that this could be a wave B rally, potentially even could be a wave 5 when we look at this alternate scenario, okay? And we could be completing this bullish structure with an ending diagonal, but even this one suggests that maybe we'll see more weakness. The key will be for potential highs to be locked in would be a broken trend line support. You are now at this trend line, so it's not broken yet, but if this will happen, let's say again maybe till next week, then I think that more weakness here could be seen, either for a free wave drop or maybe even sharp wave C down, okay, as I said here and presented on discount. So euro, I know it's bullish. I think that much more upside could be seen, since I believe that major bottom has formed here in September of 2022, but again, we don't have current intraday price action to say or to confirm that we are going higher from here. I just think that there is a risk for much lower prices here. Now let's take a look on Aussie. Now Aussie is making some very interesting failure breaks here. Firstly, we are looking at the daily chart. Keep in mind that I still think that after this correction from start of the year will complete, I will continue higher. But for now, that's not the case yet. Notice that that's only one leg to the downside, but corrections are made by three waves. So this is a temporary wave B rally. So more weakness, in my opinion, could be seen for a wave C, 78.6, 61.8%. That's the ideal support. So I still think that lows here from March could be retested, because we have seen only failure break here in this week that is trying to complete wave B rally. That's much better shown here on the 4-hour chart. Notice that that was a complex wave A rally, then sharp drop, but still only in free wave for a wave B, which did not reach a new low. So this appears like to be a part of a flat correction, which makes sense because wave C, after all, can be counted in 5 waves. And normally you will see that wave B will complete somewhere around the starting point of a wave A, and wave C around the ending point of wave A. So for now, this looks like a textbook formation, the flat formation, and I would not be surprised to see even lower prices. Keep in mind that this so far is a very aggressive sell-off, so watch out for further weakness. And again, daily, weekly close, because it's Friday, will be very important. So if we stay or stick around these current levels or even lower, I think that selling pullbacks next week could definitely be possible while the market is trading below that level here, okay? Now also let me mention this, that copper, which is here, is very weak, okay? You also have Chinese currency coming to the downside. So these are all indications for weak Aussie. Keep in mind that inflation data were disappointed in China, so it looks like that economic activity is still somehow very slow, and this is definitely something that is driven and has an bearish impact on Aussie. Okay, even gold is coming to the downside, so keep an eye on those sets as well, because as you know, markets are correlated and it's important to track different markets. Now let's take a look on dollar yen. Now dollar yen hasn't changed much. We've been shopping around here in very small ranges, but after reviewing this, still to review the daily chart, I think that the major top has been formed here. This was an impulse and now you're in corrective phase. We either could be staying in this triangle for a while, or maybe we will see another retest of 140 before market reverses to the downside. But in either case, I think it's a correction on the way down, but unfortunately this correction is still incomplete. However, in the short term, we could see some selling, maybe next week, because looking at this triangle, which is actually a bullish one, so that was wave A, and now we are in trading sideways, okay? And the sideways price action could be possibly even a triangle. So there you have A, B, C, D, E patterns, and each pattern, each subwave should be made by 3 waves. And if you look closely at this drop here, it looks like a very strong impulse, right? While the current movement is very slow. It looks like a corrective pose. So in my opinion, it can be wave B. that will send prices lower. So even just if this will be just short-term weakness, I think that there is room for 61.8% of that wave A measured from end of a wave B, and also you have this extended trend line that comes in around 132.20. So I think that this area could be seen potentially meaning a limited weakness, but still there is room for more weakness from current prices, could be seen maybe next week. Okay, but overall I'm bearish on dollar yen. I will be expecting more weakness, but it looks like that before this higher degree downtrend can resume, we should wait a little bit longer. Now let's take a look on silver. Now silver, as you know, has formed a very strong major breakout here back in at the start of April, when crowd, especially if you're tracking Twitter feed, I mean, crowd was very bullish on silver. I'm also very bullish, I will not deny that, but still I'm not surprised by this current pullback. Always, not always, but usually when something is just overcrowded, there can be the opposite reaction, and maybe now this current sell-off is trying to get rid of weak hands of traders, investors who want to sell now because the market is coming down after this, after they see maybe this as a potential failure push to the upside. But still, as long as we are above this upper trend line of this downward channel, I think that this broken channel could actually become a very nice, let me delete this, can become a very nice support here around $23. Okay, so I know that it's a very aggressive sell-off, but I want to see how the market will actually respond at that area. If suddenly, let's say next week, we see a bounce and this current drop will be erased completely, then in my opinion we could see much more upside here on silver. But for now, at least in the short term, we just firstly have to wait and see the response at this trend line. If we fall back into this channel, then in my opinion we will stay trapped in a higher degree range for a much longer period of time than we thought. Okay, tourists, thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you enjoyed this video, this presentation, and talk to you next week. Bye.